Good morning and welcome to Jour du Galop on Inside News. It's our Wednesday show. It's our final Wednesday show. We actually thought last week was going to be our final show, but today is our final show of Jour du Galop. Obviously, we will be on Friday going through the final meeting on the card. But unfortunately, I have to sad to say that this is our last midweek meeting. Yeah. It's been a great season, Shaheel, and what amazed me, especially the sort of last 2 or 3 weeks, it must be holiday season because it's amazing how many people came up to me, Mauritians living abroad. Yeah. England, Australia, Canada. And I was told we got a massive following in Canada. So a lot of people sit down and watch our Wednesday and our Friday shows. And there was a couple of Canadian people, Mauritian people living in Canada that were here on International Day. And just we couldn't stop getting praise. So that's
even your country mates back in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, the South Africans. Yeah, we managed to put our show on the South African website this week, and it's. But what I'm trying to say is, it's quite nice that when you think that your work is being appreciated, and I mean, when you say work, I know myself and Shaheel, we really enjoy this, and when you're really enjoying something, you don't really consider it as work. But Jour du Galop, curtains closed down this final Wednesday. We don't have to wake up early in the mornings, and we've got one more meeting left on Saturday. Right, talking about a bit of fun, the international weekend, I thought it went off pretty well. Yes. A lot of unfair criticism to the MTC. I thought unwarranted criticism. I mean, listen, times are tough right now. It's not only Mauritian racing that's suffering. Yeah. Just go look at South Africa. South Africa, they've reduced stakes money there. People are not happy that side as well, and it's all over the world. And I remember the CEO saying at the draws that it was about that close of the whole international meeting not happening. Yes. And I think the MTC did very well to sort of put together. Remember, another thing people seem to forget is that Air Mauritius, their main sponsor, pulled out a couple of months ago. Yes. And well, I say well done to the MTC. I think they sort of really had to battle, and they managed to get this through. And I don't think people realize how much work and how much effort goes into the sort of organizing of an event like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, let's just take a look at South Africa. Let's see what happens before the Summer Cup on Saturday. I think there was something going on at Turffontein. Yeah,
the scrims are striking back in South Africa, and it's quite sad really, because the owners are having to take a reduction in stakes. Yeah. But the grooms want more money, and it's just the way that racing is. People don't have money to gamble like they used to, you know. Yes. And it's just affecting racing all over the world. Let's hope that 2020 is a better year, and I don't know, there were whispers that we probably won't have an international next year, but I mean, that's we
heard that this year too, but
yeah, exactly. That's Mauritius. It's built on rumours, and you never know. We have a good 2020, and we look forward to another good international weekend. I think there was nothing wrong with this international weekend. Obviously, there was a couple of controversies, but we don't want to get into that. Let's just move ahead. Well, let's talk about the weekend itself, Shaheel. First of all, some of the jocks, Manoel Nunes. He was way clear of, he was 14 points clear of Jason Watson. Yeah. Once again, he showed his, not only his experience on the track, but his expertise. Talking about that South African website, there were some South African people that sort of amazed at this young guy. Well, not the young guy, but I mean at this small jockey, and he really is a great rider. He had the one win on Saturday, hat-trick wins on Sunday. Yeah. I have to say, I thought that was a terrific ride on Halo, and Simon Jones looks like he's got a very, very good horse on his hands here with Halo.
Indeed, Halo. And I remember Derek David was telling us how good he thinks Halo is, and that's exactly how he showed us. Manoel Nunes gave him a brilliant ride from that draw, and even the win that I appreciated the most was Grade 5-8. Grade 5-8, we all know that he likes to go to the front or follow close to the pace. Was very surprised to see him come from off the pace, and he won a good race.
Yeah, he did. He gave some very, very good rides this weekend, and obviously a deserved winner of the International Jockeys Weekend and of the season itself. I mean, I think if you include his wins in the international, I think it was over 47 or 47 winners throughout the whole season. So terrific season from him. Nice to see him. I did speak to him Sunday after races. I beg your pardon. I had a chat with him on Sunday after races. Asked him what his future is. Is he going to be coming back? And he said no. He said he's done what he feels he could have done in Mauritius, and he's going to look to ride somewhere else next season. So unfortunately, no Manoel Nunes next year. I would imagine the Shem Herchand will be trying their best to look to. It's going to be very difficult to fill those shoes, you know, to fill Manoel Nunes' shoes. So so unfortunately, no Manoel Nunes next season. He did say that he's had a great time in Mauritius, but he's looking to apply his trade somewhere else.
Which is understandable, because he's won almost everything. You know, he's won every classic, he's won Group 1s, he's won everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was me, I'd be coming back. But I don't know exactly. There are a couple of sort of governmental issues. You can't ride so many years. I think 2 or 3 years. So that could be an issue as well. Although he is a champion jockey, I suppose you could argue that he's here to defend his title. But there are some sort of governmental issues involved as well. All right, well, the jocks, who else impressed you? Obviously, Jason Watson. Yeah,
Jason Watson, a 19-year-old kid, 1 year younger than me, but this guy can ride, can he? Yeah? He's impressed me on marauding, because I think we were talking on Sunday in the lounge, and you were saying to me that the track is really hard at the moment, and it's not easy to come from off the pace. But what he did on marauding, the horse is very good himself, but I think it gave him a brilliant ride. Even on sand path, he gave him a brilliant ride. So Jason Watson is definitely a brilliant upcoming rider.
Yeah, he is. He looks like he's a very, very nice, and he was very humble. What I liked, I mean, I saw a tweet of his on Twitter, and he really gave Mauritius Turf Club, Mauritius fans, Mauritian racing a really nice sort of
praise.
Praise there, and it was very, very nice to read what he said about the international weekend, and it just sort of knocked the naysayers, the negative people. It was very, very nice to see a young jockey of his caliber really speak highly about Mauritian racing. Another ride, Iditarod Trail. Now, we did mention on Friday that I thought he looked as well as he did when he won at 9-1. So he won a nice race, and it looks like he's probably going to be a little bit better next year. He's a very light sort of horse, and I would imagine that the break is going to do him good. Right, another Jason. What about Jason Collett? His win on Ovation Award?
Yeah, that was a nice ride too. He was champion apprentice in Kiwi. So Australian, New Zealand riders often do well here in Mauritius. It was good on Saturday. Sunday maybe a little bit less, but still nice rider.
Yeah, I must say that Ovation Award, another was that we were pretty bullish about. We said that I thought he was going to follow the footsteps of Sonata. Now, I remember Derek David telling us about he's running for Gilbert Rosset, and he told us about some of his horses. It's a fact, really, that Gilbert Rosset gets those horses into a spot, and then they win 3-4 in a row, and we've seen it happen year in and year out. And I wouldn't be surprised. Ovation Award and Sonata, both these horses got terrific young form back in South Africa. Definitely two horses to keep on following. And then obviously Derek David's winner as well on Patrol Officer. I think that's the only winner he tipped us, if I'm not mistaken. No, he did. He also tipped us Halo as well.
Yeah, but to be fair to him, that was his only good ride of the weekend. So
yeah, well, nice for Derek David. I was pulling for him to win it, but unfortunately things didn't really go his way. Some of those 0, 20, 25 races, you look like you feel like you've got a good ride, but they don't perform. Once again, a big thank you to Derek David. We're only having a little bit of a go at you there, Derek. You did tip us a couple of winners on the weekend show, and we really appreciate that. Hopefully you will come back next year and come onto the show, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And then Manuel Martinez, his ride on Lagacio. I thought that was a terrific ride. I thought our pick was pretty unlucky. Vasco Street Track. He got stuck on the fence. He had to check and probably a little bit unlucky, but still, Manuel Martinez, someone that was he was looking forward to coming to Mauritius this season.
Yeah, his paperwork didn't go through.
Red tape there. I wonder if there's any chances of him still wanting to come and ride here.
Well, as for the whispers, yes, what we've been hearing over the weekend. But yeah, good ride on Lagacio. The horse was looking really good in the paddock before the race, and he gave him a brilliant ride from the front. Vasco tried his best to cut out the deficit acid, but Lagacio just had a little bit too much in the tank.
Okay, good. And then just let's finish off with, well, obviously John Powell. He was unfortunate. He fell off Anza Borrego and he injured his hip. I did see him on Sunday, and I thought, well, I actually asked him. I didn't realize he fell off Anza Borrego, and then he told me he's done that hip before. It pops out, and he showed me. He sort of did like a hip movement, and the hip sort of moves out, and it doesn't look very nice. But he said that that ground's hard. And when he hit the deck with after falling off Anza Borrego after the line, that hip was quite painful. He tried all his best to ride on Sunday. In fact, he even went to the track. But when the doctor checked it out, he got the doctor wasn't. Well, the doctor advised him not to ride. So unfortunately for Johnny Powell, he did ride a good winner early on in Saturday. And then your jockey Serena Strinazzi, he kicked it off well when he did ride the win in the first, and that ride impressed me. But unfortunately, nothing much really materialized after that.
Yeah, not really. But his style was really nice on Valorant. Like I told you, he's very good on a one-on-one battle. And then when he got there was Friday on my mind, and there was one more horse on the inside, and he got his way through.
The horse at the back, which I never liked, 7 Carat.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that was a joint favourite, but I almost ended up with egg on my face. Another good ride from Manoel Nunes. All right, well, that's the jocks. Let's talk about, I mean, obviously it takes a jockey and a trainer to get these horses winning. And I thought Pritam Dabby really, he really impressed me, not only this international weekend, but right throughout the season. If I'm not mistaken, this is his full second season as a trainer, if I'm not mistaken. Second or third, but he's really just getting better and better as a trainer. He's placing his horses in the right races. His horses look well. And, well, Saturday he pulled off 3 winners. And a couple of thirds, and then Sunday 2 winners and 3 second places. So he obviously won it by a proverbial mile. I mean, I think by Saturday it was going to be very, very difficult to beat him. And he cleaned up. He was 24 points clear of Jour du Galop, and like I said, really turning out to be a good winner. 23 winners throughout the season. That's before the international, at a strike rate of 10%. And like I said, I think only his second season. So it looks like Pritam's got a nice sort of future ahead of him as a trainer.
He does. I think he was quite unlucky too, because I remember at the end of last year he had a lot of hopes going into this season with Horse Gods. He thought Horse Gods would be a good horse for the classics, but unfortunately that horse got injured, and he only made his return later on this season. So probably next year, if he can get a horse for the classics, he'll be probably in the top 4. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because you know what racing is like. Anything in life, when you're having a bit of success, people follow you, and they probably will support him and invest with him. Right, and then Rajran, ladies race. I think, you know, Rajram doing on those ladies races, you can almost close your eyes and have a bet. But pretty sad about the Cassius King. I saw that young lady crying in the ring. It was quite sad. But I thought the lady on Kali's Champ gave him a terrific ride, never gave up. I mean, that one horse went about 100 meters clear, and I didn't think they were going to catch him. But well done to the lady. She never gave up at any stage, and managed to just get there on the line.
Yeah, like I told you, she was the most experienced rider in this. She's run over 600 races in her career, so she was full of experience. I think her name was Bruggemann. She comes from Germany, so well done to her.
Okay. All right, well, that's... well, that was a wrap from the weekend. I really did have a good time. I really enjoyed it, and I always look forward to these international weekends. And let's hope that everything goes well 2020, and we have a great international once again next year. Right, Shaheel, it's the final meeting. We've got 10 horses that we've pinned out. I can say there's plenty of horses that nominated this. In fact, I didn't think to see the nominations that big. Number one, but then when I went through it, I noticed there's a lot of horses nominated this week that actually ran on the international weekend. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to take their place. Like I said, that track is hard at the moment, and I'm sure there's a couple of aches and pains going around the stables, and so we'll see how we go. The 10 horses that we pinpointed obviously were on the track yesterday, so it's not horses that ran over the weekend. So let's go through that. The first horse I want to talk about is Sarah's Secret from the Raj Amdin stable. Nice to see Raj in the winner's enclosure, and I did say he's always finds a win on international weekend. He had a couple of nice runners, but luckily he managed to get Kali's Champ home. But Sarah's Secret, after he's had a couple of attempts in the 990 and some good form, 2 seconds, 2 thirds behind some decent horses. I just feel that the 1400 on Saturday is going to obviously be a lot more in his favour. Remember, he's run some good races in the 1365 and 1400 behind some good horses like Antwerp, Flower Blue, and even a decent fifth behind Afdik, and that was in a benchmark 36. And 1400 metre 0.26, I think that's right up his alley, and he could possibly pull off his first win here, Sarah's Secret. He's been a model of consistency. I just thought last time in that 990 took a bit of time to get going. He really got going to late there, and he managed to run just behind Wendell. And I just feel that the 1400 on Saturday is going to be right up his alley. So let's keep an eye on Sarah's Secret. I don't think this horse belongs in 0.26, and if you just go back to his earlier form, he's run some crackers in some decent races. All right, Shaheel, the first horse you want to talk about is Lagacio.
Yeah, Lagacio, he's a horse that I really rate, this little boy. He won like a good thing on debut, overcoming greenness and immaturity. He won on 1400 meters 0.25. He still has plenty to learn, but he's fully tapped with potential. He's had only 2 races in South Africa for the 1 win, and he ran third on debut. His full line has worked out pretty well in that race in South Africa, with many winners coming out of there. He's by the young exciting sire Skizzle, who has produced some very good horses, including a horse called Tierra del Fuego. This Tierra del Fuego has won now 4 wins, and he's beat Cirillo last time. I'm sure you remember that race. Tierra del Fuego will be taking on Hawam tomorrow at Terfontein. So just to tell you that this Skizzle is a good young sire. Lagacio, like I told you, he's full of potential. He worked really nicely under Brandon Louis yesterday, so very happy to see Brandon getting back into the irons. He's entered in race 3, 1365 benchmark 31 and 1450 benchmark 36. I would imagine both races would be right up his alley, and I'm very excited to see him back on track this week.
Okay, the big question is the jockey staying or not? Is he going to be riding? Olivier Placet, will he be riding? There are a couple of whispers on the professional site, Facebook, that he might not be riding, so that remains to be seen. But there's a couple of jockeys that probably won't be riding. Like for instance, I really liked, I'm going to talk about the horse later on, but I really liked that horse Arctic Flyer. Now, I thought Shaheel Ayadassen gave that horse a perfect ride last time, but he might not be riding either. So it's going to be interesting to see who rides these horses on Saturday. Unfortunately, short notice. I don't think I'm going to be able to get my weight down before then.
Yeah, me either. I don't think I'll be able to take my license out.
All right, let's talk about Jean-Michel Henry's horse, Virtue. Hung in badly last time when he was beaten by Silken Prince. Even though Silken Prince was better off at him in the weights, I still thought that he was going to beat Silken Prince. But I think the only thing that cost him, I don't think Silken Prince was the better horse on the day. I think that the fact that he hung in so badly onto that fence with Janabada, now, he's done it before, Virtue. He's done it a couple of times, and in fact, the day that he absolutely trounced in, when he beat Silken Prince, he ran as straight as an arrow. So we can't actually figure. Well, I mean, you're never guaranteed to know what he's going to do in a race. It was nice to see Naresh Juglal on his back yesterday morning. Now, if that's an indication that he might be riding Virtue, that's probably going to give me a little bit more confidence over the weekend. And what I do like as well, it's a 1365. Now, he was a winner everywhere, except maybe the last sort of 25, 35 meters. So the 1365 probably going to be, well, it will be in his favor. Naresh Juglal working well. Let's hope he runs straight. I think he's going to be a tough horse to beat on Saturday.
I've got Kamadeva next. He won on his local debut, beating Melson in a 0.25 1400 meters. He showed a lot of good things that day, including his good initial gate speed and pace. And what impressed me was when they break from the start, there was Chap arrived alongside him, and Olivier Placet was pushing on Chap, but he just couldn't go.
Natural speed, and
that's really good for the Shottermouse track.
Well, you know what else it is? It's also the fact that these horses are just too good for these divisions, right? So that natural speed, the word is natural. He's not doing anything sort of out of his own sort of ability. It's natural, and it's just too good for the rest of them. So a horse like Kamadeva and Lagacio will probably will win the divisions.
Yeah, for sure. But he's a one-time winner in South Africa, and he's by the young exciting Cape Town Noir, and he won his maiden by more than 3 lengths in South Africa. So all that just to say that he's got full natural talent too. He's a half brother to Lovestruck, a horse that you know well. You've run second in the maiden on Lovestruck. So Kamadeva is definitely one to keep an eye on. He worked with Jean Bardetier yesterday morning, and he's entered in race 3, 1365 benchmark 31. I just hope him and Lagacio doesn't clash.
Yeah, that's what I've got in brackets here. Lagacio in 2 races, they might just clash with Kamadeva. But listen, I don't think the Gajiras are fools. They'll probably, even though, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to run away from Kamadeva, but maybe they don't want to have a clash. But actually, it would be quite nice to see it would be quite nice to see the two of them in the same race. To actually sort of, because they are both very nice horses. They both won well on debut. I've probably got a preference for Lagacio if they had to meet, but I do agree with you. Both these horses got a very, very bright future here in Mauritius, and they're probably just going to get better over the off season.
For sure.
Right, I did mention Arctic Fire. I want to talk about now. I know, Shaheel, you've got a horse later on, Rob Roy, and I see they are entered in the same race, but they both won good races last time. But obviously, we will talk about Rob Roy, but we're going to be bumping heads here. Rob Roy and Arctic Flyer. I thought there was a terrific ride by Shaheel Ayadassen last time on Arctic Flyer, and well, he never worked him yesterday morning, but you did say that you didn't think he was at the track yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Jamie I never saw him either, so maybe he wasn't there. But he never worked the horse. So, and once again, Shaheel, who's always got all the information, said that Jamia might not be riding this last season. I know he's got a couple of suspensions lined up. Yeah. Maybe he's going to take one this year and then maybe one early next year. But he was held up pretty solid in his gallop under the youngster. He steps up to the 41 after winning in a 36. But remember, this horse has run second in a benchmark 51 this year, and it's quite another. I mean, a 990 on a sort of the last meeting of the season, 17 nominations, and there's obviously going to be a lot of scratchings there. And but he's guaranteed to get a place. Arctic Flyer, he's quite high up in the ratings there. So Arctic Flyer, big question mark who's going to ride him? Maybe because. No, sorry, that's Jean-Michel. Sorry, that's wrong. It won't be Neraz Jaglal because he's riding for Jean-Michel. But yeah, it'll be interesting who's going to ride him because he's not an easy horse to ride, this Arctic Flyer. And yeah, so we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned. Right, Arctic Flyer, same race, Rob Roy. Tell me why you think Rob Roy would beat Arctic Flyer.
Because last time he recorded his second win, and both his winning marches has been over the 990. He looks to be a pure sprinter, and he went to the front last time and stayed on gamely to repel Clippers captain Late Charge. He's entered in the same race like you mentioned last time. He won with 59 kg. Probably the thing that's going to play against us this time is the 61.5 kg. I think you guys are carrying less, so that could swing in your favor.
He's 61.5. Yeah, so he might even be out of bracket in that race because
like you're saying, there's 17 horses. Yeah.
He might be out of bracket because you know, obviously the preference goes to the horses with 61 and less. So we'll see what happens there.
Not the strongest of form, to be honest. Not the strongest of field, to be honest. But he worked really nicely with Derek David yesterday morning, and it will be really nice to see Derek and Vincent at the table end their season on a positive note.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's Rob Roy. I didn't realise he had 61.5, so he might be out of bracket, but especially with 17 nominations. So let's see what happens as far as that's concerned. Right. The next horse I want to talk about. This horse isn't out of bracket, and I think he definitely will run. Is Hit the Green, and I've been following this horse on for quite a long time. I thought we'd focus on at least one runner in the 020s. Now Hit the Green, like I said, I've been following him a long time. Ever since that run back in June when he ran sort of 5 lengths off Superstitious. Now that was a good run, and things didn't really go his way that time. I remember Darryl Holland saying that he thinks that this horse is going to win 1 or 2 races this season. Well, he hasn't. The last time, the last time he ran was the first time in a 020. He ran a very good second to Bell's Apostle with Swapnil Rama. The extra 100, in my opinion, is going to suit him because if you go back to South Africa, I think he, if I'm not mistaken, he ran some good races. I think he won a 1400 in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. But a little bit confused here with him and another horse that I did a bit of work. But getting back to the distance, I don't think that the 1500 is going to be a problem for him. I reckon that it's going to probably be right of his alley. So Hit the Green, Ricky Maingard. I reckon that this horse is going to be a big runner in that first race on Saturday in that 020. I like the way he worked. Another question mark is who's going to ride him because obviously he hasn't got a stable jock, and they don't sort of work the horses. So hopefully we get a sort of nice Mauritian rider on top of Hit the Green, and he could be worthwhile following Saturday as well. Right, Shaheel Carlos Mambo
ran a nice second to Well Connected last time at big odds. Well Connected, I must say, was pretty unlucky this weekend. Johnny Powell never got the gap through there.
Well, they sort of his life wasn't really made very easy.
No. So, but this Carlos Mambo actually has some very good South African form. He actually beat Vasco Street Tractor back in South Africa when he won his maiden. He ran third to a very classy One World and another horse called Deepston. He's run second to Sonata in a tough handicap. So just to tell
some
you,
solid form,
yeah, Carlos Mambo's got some really nice form. If he can reproduce that kind of form or repeat his last performance that he put up last time, he should be able to make his presence felt in race 4. I don't know if Lagacio is going to run in a race 4 or race 3, but that could be another interesting duel there. He's worked well under Swapnil Rama yesterday morning.
Okay, that's Carlos Mambo. Right, my final horse of the morning is the Right Stuff. Now, I did like this horse last time. I wasn't the only one. I think the stable liked him quite strongly because he was quite heavily backed. He's from the Inform Pritam Dabby stable, heavy supported last time when fitted with the tongue tie. He was reported that he battled to negotiate the bends, which I find quite weird because he's been around here a few times. And just last time, he was reported to battle to negotiate those turns. I think the tongue tie has done the trick, and I think the stable does too as well, because they obviously did. They backed him quite heavily last time from 4-1 into 2-1 favourite. I think the extra 50 is going to suit him. It's going to be in his favour, and this is also singing about one in South Africa over 1400, not hit the green, but this was one of testing 1400 at Turfentine. I don't think that the distance is going to be a problem for the Right Stuff. This race just looks like everything's starting to come to plan for him. I still can't work out about that turn thing last time, but I don't think he'll have a problem with the turn this time, and the Right Stuff could be the right horse in that particular race on Saturday. Worked well, and I'm going to make him a big runner on Saturday. Right, Shaheel, you're going to finish off with Tower of Wisdom that actually, well, he blew them away last time at some generous odds.
Yeah, he finally got it all together last time to grab his first win of the season after a terrific 2018 campaign with Amos UDL. Nuresh said before his win last time that this horse has changed since the summer has arrived, and he's probably a summer horse. Indeed, he won like a good thing last time, and he's probably a summer horse. He worked well with Nuresh yesterday morning, and he looks to be in good shape and in striking condition. He can make it 2 for the season. He's entered in race 6, 1500 meter Transpark 61.
Okay, well there we go. That's our 10 horses for training.
Hopefully 10 winners. No,
yeah, it's going to be
9 races.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the final feels.
Yeah.
For this
and the jockeys.
And the jockeys, yeah, that's also going to be quite a. That's going to be that's what's going to be a thing, because the way I see it, I think there is only Derek David as the foreign jockeys, and then a couple of the Mauritian boys won't be riding, like Jamie Ayadassen, but Nuresh juggles there.
Yes, Nuresh.
Yeah, so there's a couple of boys that will be available, but it's going to be quite an interesting meeting. Probably a little bit low key compared to the weekend, but nevertheless, nice to have one final meeting before we close down for Christmas. Shaheel, that's a wrap as far as Jour du Galop is. Hopefully we will. I'm sure we'll be back next year. Like I said, we do have a lot of support. I think throughout the year, maybe read about 2 or 3 negative comments, but about 300 or 400 positive comments. So that's a good thing. And like I said, if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's not really work. And I just got to say thank you very much for being with us.
Actually, I got to say thank you, because it's been my first season, full season for Jour du Galop, and obviously you've been my mentor. I've been learning so much from you for the past 2 seasons now, but this season has been pretty special because I wasn't such a big fan of training, but you've learned me how to wake up early and go to track work, which I don't really like, to be honest, but still we got to learn it, and thank you so much for everything this season.
No, not a problem. All right, well, that is Jour du Galop. We'll see you next year as far as this Wednesday's the Wednesday show is concerned, but we will be back Friday. Sure. We will be going through this tricky card, and hopefully we can finish off the season on a high note, because like we said, we do have Christmas coming up, and some holiday money. We need to make a little bit of money for that. All right, thanks very much for joining us. See you on Friday. Bye.